What's up, YouTube? It's me, your girl at K Kenora, and I'm back with another video. So today I want to give you guys some examples of gaslighting, okay? So first and foremost, we know that gaslighting is a form of psychological abuse where a person or group makes someone question their sanity, their perception or of reality, or their memories. So the word gaslighting is derived from a play or film that came out in the 1900s. Just gonna say the 1900s, and it was called Gaslight. So they had a play about it, and then they made a film or a movie about it, and it was called Gaslight. And in the movie, the husband manipulates the wife into thinking she has a mental illness by dimming their gas-fueled lights and telling her she's hallucinating, hence where the name gaslight comes from. So gaslight often develops gradually, making it difficult for a person to really understand what's going on or detect what's going on. So there are multiple types of gaslighting, and I'm going to give you guys an example of them. There are multiple examples of gaslighting, okay? So the first example I have here is called countering. So I looked up the word countering to try to put it together with gaslighting, and the definition that I got for countering is in opposite or wrong direction. So when someone is countering you, they're trying to take you in the wrong direction, the opposite direction of what you would normally go, the opposite direction of what you would normally think. If you think reasonable, they'll try to, because remember, narcissists are delusional. They have cultivated their own reality, and they're trying to get you to get on board with their reality, what they say reality is. So that is what countering is, and this is what a gaslighter does with your memory. They kind of take you away from yourself, your normal thinking, your normal behavior, your normal beliefs, and they kind of take you in the wrong direction, which is normally in their views, their beliefs, their way of thinking. So they'll say things like, when they're countering, trying to counter you or take you in the wrong direction, they'll say things like, you never remember things correctly or accurately. Are you sure? You have a bad memory. So they'll say things like this to kind of make you doubt your memory. And the whole time they are twisting these things to confuse you. So what I like to do to kind of help me stay sane is to know that God is not the author of confusion. This is in the Bible. God is not the author of confusion. So where there is confusion, if God is not the author of it, then the damn devil is, okay? And why would you trust the devil if you know that he's out to kill, steal, and destroy? So remember that. The second example that a gaslighter would do to control you, they will withhold. And I looked up the definition for withholding, and withholding is refusal to give something that is due or desired. And covert narcissists are good at this. The things, and I said this numerous of times, the things that they know you like, they'll go out their way to make sure you don't get those things. And the things that they know you don't like, they'll go out their way to give you those things. So this to me is another form of withholding. Okay, they are refusing to give you something that is due or desired. So someone who does this refuses to engage in conversation with you as well. And they may play dumb. They may pretend not to understand so that they don't have to respond to you. They'll say things like, I don't know what you're talking about. Or, you're trying to confuse me. And that's the gaslight. That's kind of like projection too, because the whole time they're trying to confuse you, but they flip it and say, you're trying to confuse me. And when it's withholding, because they know the truth and they're not telling you the truth. So that's withholding. So another example I have is called trivializing. And trivializing is to make something seem less important, significant, or complex than it really is. So this occurs when a person belittles, degrades the other person's feelings. They'll accuse you of being too sensitive or overreacting when you have valid concerns. So they'll probably say, oh, you're just too sensitive. Oh, you're always overreacting. They'll say things like that. And that is called trivializing. They kind of like minimize your feelings, basically. Another example of gaslighting is denial. And I must have felt this one really good because of the way that I said it. And denial is refusal to admit the truth of a statement or refusal to accept or believe in someone or something. So someone pretending to forget events or how they occurred is denial. So they'll deny saying or doing something or accuse you of making things up. That's another form of denial. So another example that I have of gaslighting is diverting. So diverting means to turn from one thing to another thing. Basically trying to distract you. That's what diverting is. And example I can give you of that is when my son was probably like 2 or 3, and if he'll go to something that he's not supposed to play with, I would kind of like distract him with something he is supposed to play with to make him not play or do something that he's not supposed to do. Now, that's ethical. A narcissist will kind of divert you in a negative way. Remember, a narcissist is just a negativity, if that makes sense. Everything that a narcissist do is manipulation because it's done in a negative way to get a negative effect or a negative response. But that is diverting, to turn from one thing to another thing to distract you. So also, someone who is diverting you, they will try to change the focus of your discussion and question the other person's credibility instead. So they'll say things like, that is just another crazy idea you got from your friends. So that is diverting. Another example of gaslighting is stereotyping. And stereotyping, as you may or may not know, is assuming that all people, or black people, or white people, or Spanish people, or whatever, all people have the same characteristics and abilities. And we know that's not true, because just because I'm black doesn't mean that I do something that another black woman would do. But that's another form of gaslighting, when you stereotype people, and they'll use negative stereotypes of a person's gender, race, ethnicity, sexuality, nationality, age to manipulate them. So an example of this, I get this a lot. They say that all black people are ghetto or loud or ignorant. And those are all negative connotations of black people that is not true. So an example of this, they'll tell a female that people will think she's irrational or crazy if she seek help from abuse. Because, you know, people love to say that females are crazy. So that's another stereotyping right there. So I got an example of that when I was seeing my son. The lady there was telling me how when she picked my son up from school, she asked him what kind of music he listened to. And my son told her he listened to country music. And she was like, she was shocked because she thought that he wanted to listen to hip hop. So that is stereotyping in a negative way. So anyone can experience gaslighting. It is mostly common, and I should have got me something to get the sweat off me because I'm sweating. So anyone can experience gaslighting. It is mostly common in intimate relationships and social interactions where there is an imbalance of power. Now, I wanted to know what the word imbalance of power is, and so I looked it up, and I really couldn't find a good definition about what imbalance of power is. But my gut instincts, my intuition tells me when there is no balance of power, when one person feel like that they are more in power than another person, and they'll try to take advantage of that, and they will use that. Kind of like my situation now. And I looked up a lot of, I didn't look up a lot. I looked up a couple of examples of imbalance of power and when it would be used. So the first example that I have is silence of mature, honest people against immature, dishonest people. So when there is an imbalance of power and you're dealing with an honest and mature person like myself, you will have people who are immature and dishonest trying to silence you. That's an imbalance of power example. And then you have greed, you have favoritism, you have unequal chances to be in authority. So say like if we're having a conversation, me and you, if there is an equal balance of power, then we're both giving each other turns to speak our mind, to speak our piece. But when there is an imbalance of power, the conversation, it will be one person speaking. And not that that's a bad thing, but it's only bad when the other person is not allowing that person to speak. So that is where you'll get an imbalance of power. And you have to understand that you get you see that a lot in people who feel like they are not in control, they have no power. People who feel like that they are small and don't have power, they try to get power from whatever sources they can get power from, because remember, they need to feed their insecurities, and that's one way that they do it. Okay, so a person who is on the receiving end of this behavior is experiencing abuse. So I'm basically experiencing psychological abuse right now, and how I feel about that, I feel angry, as I should, but at the same time, I don't feel anything, because I understand that this person really is insecure. You see what I'm saying? because a person who has high self-esteem and love for themselves, they don't go around making other people feel small. And that's just how I feel about the situation. So you can experience gaslighting in numerous of situations or relationships. So the most common place that you will find gaslighting is in intimate relationships. So in an intimate relationship, in intimate relationships, an abusive partner may accuse their partner of being irrational or crazy in order to isolate, undermine their confidence, and make them easier to control. Another relationship that you will find gaslighting is child-parent relationships. And a parent may accuse a child of being too sensitive, to belittle their feelings, or misremember events from their childhood. Medical gaslighting. So in medical gaslighting, doctors will dismiss or trivialize a person's health condition, and they will do that by saying things like, oh, that's just in your head. You know what I'm saying? So imagine a person who was already dealing with gaslighting and then goes to the doctor and tells the doctor what's wrong, and they just say, oh, that's all in your head. You know, you see what I'm saying? So there's also a thing called racial gaslighting. So racial gaslighting, which I see a lot, but I didn't know that it was gaslighting, is denying that a specific group experiences discrimination despite evidence that says otherwise, or may criticize civil rights activists for being too emotional to undermine their message. I'm sweating, y'all. I literally should have gotten me a towel or something. Try not to mess up my edges. But that is racial gaslighting. So another form of gaslighting is political gaslighting. And political figures or groups uses lies, denials, manipulate information to control people. We see that all the time. In the political whatever it's called, we see that all the time. And we most definitely seen that a lot with Donald Trump. So institutional gaslighting is normally found in companies or organizations. So when you deal with institutional gaslighting, you will have like the supervisor or manager or whoever denying or hiding information, lie to employees about their rights, or portray that the whistleblowers who uncover problems in the organization as incompetent and mentally ill. So the causes of this is the reason why a gaslighter or a narcissist gaslight is to gain control over you. They feel entitled. They feel like you deserve it. They're self-centered. They're vain. They have a constant need of admiration. They lack empathy, and they think they're better than everyone else. So we already know that a narcissist has no power. They have no control. So they seek out people who will give them that supply to make the, I don't want to say reality because it's not reality, to make their fantasy world true. Because remember, in their mind, it is true. So anyone who go against that and denies their perception will often get gaslighted, or they'll get gaslighted even before then, because it's all about control. So I want to go back and I want to give you the signs of being gaslighted. There are plenty of signs of being gaslighted, and I want to give you the signs. So if you're if you are confused, if you are second guessing yourself, unable to trust yourself, constantly apologizing, anxious, and question yourself that are you too sensitive, then 9 times out of 10 you are being gaslighted. And the list goes on. I just did not feel like writing all of that because I wrote all of this. So those are the signs of being gaslighted. And how you respond to it, you can record like I do. You can gather evidence and journal. You can talk to someone you can trust. You can take pictures. You can keep a voice memo. You can make sure you keep your devices locked, because all of the evidence that I had in my son's tablet when my son went to foster care, they are all gone. Someone deleted all of those videos. So it's like it never happened. So make sure you keep your devices locked. And make sure you plan a safety plan. Make sure you have a safety plan. Make sure you have a backup plan. Because sometimes gaslighting, not all the time, but sometimes gaslighting, it's rarely that gaslighting will lead to physical abuse. But to protect yourself, make sure you have a safety plan, and make sure you stay with your reality. Make sure that's the most important thing, which is the hardest thing to do as well. Make sure that you stay grounded in your reality. You're not crazy. You are being gaslighted. Even if you have to make a mental note to yourself and say, okay, I'm being gaslighted right there, make sure you make that mental note, because if not, then you're liable to give in to what the narcissist want, and that is to control you. So that is the end of this video. I wanted to step out the house and change the scenery up a little bit. I want to thank you guys for watching my videos. If you are new to my channel, then subscribe to my channel. I'm so sorry for sweating. Next time I will have a towel or something to wipe the sweat. I'm sorry about the noise in the background. I cannot control that. I hope that you guys could hear me just fine. If you are new to my channel, then subscribe to my channel. If you are already a subscriber, then you already know what to do. Make sure that you click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all this. Period. Peace until next time. And if Noah was here, and goodbye.